And back by popular demand, it's This Week in Comics. It's episode 17, but it's week 22 of the comic book releases. I've missed you just as much as you've missed me. So let's run down some comics coming out this week. Now, I'm sure to a lot of you it seems like this show has been running for years, but it's only been running since November 2017, and at that point, Doomsday Clock issue 1 came out. Now, I know you all know what that is. It's the Watchmen universe coming into the DC universe. It's by the superstar creative team of Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and I know a lot of you are desperate to get to the end, but it's taken its sweet time. But every issue that comes out is getting better than the last. And we now have issue 10. That's right, issue 10 of Doomsday Clock has finally hit stands. Now, I don't need to talk about it that much. We've spoken about it on the video pretty much every time it's come out. But yeah, issue 10's out. It's more of a public service announcement for you to let you know to come to the shop, pick up your Doomsday Clock issue 10, and Heroes in Crisis, nearly called it Final Crisis, Heroes in Crisis, issue 9. This series that has got a few people loving it, a few people hating it, no one really in the middle. That has also come to an end with issue 9. So 2 big books from DC. Heroes in Crisis comes to an end. Doomsday Clock almost at the end, issue 10, so only 2 issues to go. Hopefully it'll be wrapped up by the end of the year. But yeah, your 2 big books, your public service announcement, come and grab these bad boys. Now, in the time we've been away, we've had a few comics start that are worth talking about, and one of those is Thanos, issue 1. Now, I don't need to tell you who Thanos is, do I? You've all seen the Avengers movies, you've all seen Endgame, but if you want a bit more from Thanos, if you didn't get enough of him from the movies, check out Thanos issue 1, and out this week, issue 2. 2 great Thanos comics for you. I do believe it's an ongoing, I could be wrong. But check it out, it's Thanos, it's got Gamora, by the looks of things, as a child in there. I know you all love Thanos, you want to have more of him. I know a lot of you, when watching the Avengers movies, had a bit of an emotional connection to Thanos. Yes, he's a bad guy, yes, he's got bad ideas, but the way they portrayed him in the films gave you that kind of empathy towards him. So if you did enjoy him, check out Thanos, issue 1 and 2 on the shelf today. New from DC this week, one of 2 quite high-priced books, but 2 books that are definitely worth your time. The first of which we'll speak about now, it's Superman, Leviathan Rising. Now, I know a lot of you read Action Comics because Brian Michael Bendis jumped on board to take over the reins of the Superman books just over a year ago now. And in Action Comics, which is kind of the more crime ground-based title of the 2, he's been setting up this Leviathan, big crime syndicate, taking over lots of other crime syndicates. Leviathan Rising is the big sort of I want to say starting point. We've had 5 issues of Action Comics leading up to this point, but this is the big starting point. This is by the superstar creative team of Brian Michael Bendis, Greg Rucka and Matt Fraction. So some excellent talent writing this book. This is going to be going across all of the DC universe for the coming months. Year of the Villain, the freebie that hopefully you all got as part of Free Comic Book Day, set the stage for some of this stuff. We've still got copies of that in store as well if you want to come and grab a free copy of Year of the Villain. But yeah, Leviathan Rising. This sets up the big Leviathan story that's got its own mini-series. It's still crossing over into Action Comics. We're getting 2 brand new books out of this as well, a Lois Lane book and a Jimmy Olsen book, which I'm very excited for. So yeah, if you've been enjoying Action Comics, if you've been enjoying what Bendis is doing with the street level stuff, all the crime stuff in the DC universe, check this out. Another book that started while we weren't recording the videos, while we had our little break, was Angel. Angel issue 0 kind of took everyone by surprise. Even comic shops didn't know Angel was getting an issue 0 and coming into stores. And we've still got copies of that as well as this week's issue 1. So if you're a fan of all things Buffy, if you're a fan of Joss Whedon, if you're a fan of Angel, check this out. Much like the Buffy series, it is taking the looks and the characters you know and love, but kind of starting from scratch and giving them a fresh lick of paint. So yeah, check this out if you're a fan of Whedon, the Whedonverse, Buffy, Angel. Some good stuff to keep your vampires at bay. Now, regular viewers to the show will know I do like a seasonal special from DC, and that's why I came back to the video this week, because Dog Days of Summer is out. It's a summer special from DC, another $10 book, but it's an 80-page giant, it's prestige format, it's all shiny and nice, and it focuses on the animals and animal-based characters from the DC universe. So on the cover, you've got Crypto the Superdog, Beast Boy, Bat Cow, Killer Croc's in there. You've got lots of the as I say, the animal-based characters within the DC universe. So if you want something a bit fun, a bit off the wall, if you're a fan of all things animals, which who isn't? Everyone loves animals, except, no, everyone loves animals. Check this out. I'm going to be reading it. It's probably not going to be the first book I read this week, but it's definitely going to be read. Check it before you wreck it. Stranger Things is coming back to Netflix in June, so very, very soon. But if you're too excited, if you can't wait, if you want your Stranger Things fix before Series 3 hits, there's a new comic out. We had a 4-issue Stranger Things miniseries late last year, early this year, and this is the second miniseries, another 4-issue miniseries, this time focusing on the lab where Eleven was created. So it's, again, another prequel book for Stranger Things. I know you're all fans. I don't need to sell Stranger Things to you. You know what it is. You know you love it. You know you can't get enough of it. Come in and grab this. Beautiful David Mack cover as well, with 11 on the front. Buy it today. Now, DC, as part of their new 52 series, relaunched a lot of characters, gave a lot of characters a new lick of paint. It didn't really do as well as it expected for a lot of fans. A lot of fans were put off the DC universe because of the new 52. But one of the bright sparks was Scott Snyder doing Batman along with Greg Capullo. And they're back on a Batman title, Batman Last Night on Earth. Another prestige format book. It's going to be another expensive one, no doubt. Can't see the price, but I'm sure it's a bargain. It's $6. So there you go. I just remembered out of nowhere. I looked over there and remembered. I got inspiration from a shelf. But yeah, Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder, back on Batman. It's DC Black Label, so it's going to be a bit grim, a little bit gritty. I don't know if there's going to be any bat in this one. I can't say that for sure. So don't buy it thinking there is, and there's not going to be. But yeah, Batman by Scott Snyder. I always want to say Zack Snyder. He's done stuff with Batman as well, but not in comics. Scott Snyder has. I know you're all enjoying Justice League by Scott Snyder. So check him out. He's back on the Bat books. If you've been into store recently, you will notice we've had a little bit of a reshuffle with the graphic novel selection. What we've done is we've got an area dedicated to some of the best creators out there in comics. One of those is Jeff Lemire. Hot off the success of books like Sweet Tooth and Black Hammer, he's got a new book out called Ascender, which is a follow-up to Descender. We've got issue 1, issue 2 is out this week, still available on the shelf. If you like your fantasy books from Image, which I know a lot of you do, they do some great stuff, great creator-owned books from Image, so you always know you're going to get something special, something very good, and when there's a name like Jeff Lemire on the front, you know you're going to get something special. So come in, check it out. Like I say, we've still got issue 1, so if you want to try something new that isn't superhero based, Ascender isn't a bad place to start. And lastly, our graphic novel pick of the week is a big hardcover. It's heavy. It's Ghost in the Shell, the deluxe edition complete box set. You get 3 lovely books in there. I'm sure a lot of you have read the original Ghost in the Shell, but maybe you haven't read the follow-ups to it, or you've seen the animated movie and you've never read it, or you've seen the Scarlett Johansson live action movie. Let's not really talk about that. But if you like the animated movie, if you like the anime, and you've always fancied reading Ghost in the Shell but don't really know where to pick it up from, we've got your back. You can get the whole shebang in one handy hardcover edition. If you are going to come and pick this up, make sure you're driving. Come in your car because it is heavy. You don't want to carry that around for too long. And that is it. Not only have we got all these great comics in this week, we've got a plethora of other great books on the shelf. If you come into Comic Connections, you'll see exactly what we've got. Get any of the titles on standing order with us. Not only do you get them reserved behind the counter so you don't miss an issue, you also save a whopping 20%. But if you can't get to Comic Connections here in Banbury, I'm sure you've got a comic book store near you. Go and visit them, buy some comics, support your local independent stores. They'll appreciate it, we'll appreciate it. And you'll appreciate because you'll get some good stuff to take home. I will be back next week. I promise we're not going anywhere. We're back by popular demand and I'm not going anywhere. Pete's Week in Comics will live forever. Until then, see you later.